Welcome back, Clocks on the Stove, your favorite sports podcast, episode 98, with your usual host, myself, Grayson Fisher, and with me, my partner in crime in South Florida, Mr. Zach Watts.
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, the moment we've all been waiting for. Football is back. Not preseason football, not these weird high school games on ESPN on Saturday morning. Real life football that matters. College football is back, ladies and gentlemen. It's not back in the way we want it to be back, but it's still back, which is better than nothing. I just lost the entire schedule. But yeah, this Saturday starts us off. We have week 0 kicking off. A little weird that we do a week 0 in college football. I don't know why we don't do a preseason game in college football. I think that'd be way more beneficial than what we see now.
Technically, it's the spring game.
That's like 4 months ago, 5 months ago.
Yeah. It's like it's kind of like that boyfriend thing where it's like, oh, you never take me on dates. It's like, well, we did that one thing.
We did that one thing, that one time where we were
Yeah. You remember one time we went out? Yeah. Quit you yapping. Quit you yapping. Yeah, that's about all we get.
I think it's weird that in high school there's a preseason game and in the NFL there's 4 and then in college there's none. It is what it is. I'm still happy football's back. I'm still gonna sit my ass on the couch and watch these pointless games. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 games. Let's just dive on in, Zach. Let's just dive on in. Starting us off is our quote unquote game of the week, which is Navy versus Notre Dame in Notre Dame. Notre Dame coming in at the number 13 team in the country.
It's not at Notre Dame.
Where's it at? As a neutral site?
It's Dublin, Ireland.
Oh, this game's the Ireland game.
Yes.
Okay.
All the ads are by some leprechaun, and he's like, "You're in from the look of the Irish."
Okay, this is cool. Then. I didn't know that. That's completely poor journalism on my end. This game's gonna be on NBC at 2:30. Notre Dame coming in at -20.5. Actually, if you recall, last year's week 0 kickoff game was also in Dublin, Ireland. I wonder if that's like their new thing. And it was Nebraska versus Northwestern, where Northwestern won. Their only win of the season was in another country. And if you remember, the card machines broke at that game.
Yeah.
So everyone was drinking for free. They were getting slammed, and they had like a huge cup snake going on. Do you remember that?
Yeah. I just know that couldn't have happened in America because if their machines would have went down, they would have been like, no drinking.
Yeah, they'd be like, you're good. No. But in Ireland, they're like, I fucking
they're like, listen, if we take away the alcohol from the Irish, we may not make it home.
Yeah, what a boring ass game to give them though. This game and that game last year, it's weird. You think they'd want to make it a little bit better. Anywho, diving into this game, I think Notre Dame's going to absolutely mollywop Navy. This is like kind of sort of a rivalry game. They play almost every year. There's a little animosity between the two teams, I guess you could say, in like the friendliest way possible because like you have your military versus like a bunch of Catholic boys. So it's not like an evil rivalry. It's more like oh, sir, we're going to kick your behind in the game today. You know what I mean? Like it's very proper. It's very proper.
Yeah.
I don't really give a shit about the game. Last year, Notre Dame beat Navy by a field goal, but that's only because Notre Dame put 0 points up in the second half. Navy put up 19. What I'm most excited to see, Zach, is it felt like last year Notre Dame was a quarterback away from being a real team, in my opinion, being like a real contender. And now they get Sam Hartman, who in my opinion is one of the best college football quarterbacks. I don't know why he doesn't get the love that some other quarterbacks do. Actually, I'm going to be honest. I haven't seen anything hyping him up at all this whole season, preseason. But it's going to be interesting to see him around a team that has a lot of real weapons, a team with an amazing offensive line. You have a good young coach in Marcus Freeman, who I'm a big fan of, and I'm not a Notre Dame fan by any means. What's going to be interesting is to see him more in a pro-style offense where he's been more in this slow mesh, let it develop. Every play is either handoff or pass. You can choose on the dot. That's what I'm going to be interested to see him in more of a realistic offense. But I think Navy. I'm not going to spread anything. I just think Notre Dame's going to body them. What do you think about going into this game?
Yeah, I just love to see that. The conspiracy that the NCAA always tries to hype up Notre Dame is in full effect. So they're just like, let's let the rest of the world know like we're just going to give them a shitty opponent, and then when they beat them, like every international fan that just starts watching college football, they're going to be like, "Oh my God, Notre Dame is the greatest team on earth." Evidently, just for them to immediately blow it like halfway through the season, because that's always what happens. Also, I just have a hard time respecting a team that isn't in a conference. I still don't know why they're not. But I digress. Regardless, I do agree with you with what you said. I like that Sam Hartman is on a new team. I do think he's going to get some different exposure outside of the ACC. No disrespect to Wake Forest, but they're just not notoriously known for being a powerhouse college football program. So I do think he kind of slipped under the radar. I do think another part that played in part to that was during the midst of the whole Heisman race, he had to, I believe he went down to a couple injuries, missed some time here and there.
He almost quit football. He almost retired because of the blood clot.
Yeah.
He almost never played again.
Yeah. So with all that going on, you kind of get lost in the mix there because there's so much storylines that go on with college football throughout the year. I mean, we have plenty of storylines to get into, and we haven't even started the season. But he does he's in a different system. He's not in that slow mesh where he kind of has to be he's still the captain, but kind of not the commander on the field where he has to dictate the pace of every single offensive drive. Notre Dame is going to have a more pro style system, which I think is really going to play a big part in whether or not he's pro ready or not. And I do think he is. He's a really quality quarterback. I mean, this is one of the few guys we've had full exposure to since he was in high school. He was a part of that.
QB1.
Was it QB1 or Elite 11? Yeah, he's part of QB1 with
I mean, he was also in Elite 11, but QB1 was
the show with
it was him that random black kid that did nothing and Justin Fields.
I thought he was in the season with no, you're right.
No, the other one is with Jake Fromm.
Yeah, Jake Fromm and Tate Martell. That was the season
That's the best season. That's the best.
I was like, holy shit. This is awesome.
You got Tate Martell who's just like partying and not giving a fuck, and then you have freaking what's his name?
Jake Fromm out there.
Jake Fromm's like out there going to church, like mowing the lawn. Like it's so like total opposites.
Oh yeah, they couldn't have done better than that. And then the best part about that is Sam Hartman was like the most dominant player at his high school by far. And then he's out there and everyone on his team is just like literally like, yeah, I'm playing football because like it's fun.
Yeah, his team was terrible.
Yeah, and he's just out there like broken body like every game. And he's like, I put the team on my back for this shit. And they're like, dude, your team is like 8-8.
Yeah. Your team's not even going to playoffs, dude.
Yeah, and like, oh my God, it was so funny to me. But regardless of that, like I've always known about him. I wouldn't say I followed him closely. Like he's an ACC quarterback, so due to my Florida State pride, I have kept track of him over the years. But I am excited for what he's going to accomplish. Like you said, I love Notre Dame's new head coach. I do think he's very promising for them. Who did they move on from? That's the LSU's coach.
Brian Kelly.
Yeah, Brian Kelly. Moving on from him is a tough task to do.
For winningest coach ever.
Yeah, and here's what people need to understand. Not every coach is Nick Saban. Just because you don't make it to the Natty or the playoffs every year doesn't dictate if you're a great coach or not. And Brian Kelly, what he did for Notre Dame was amazing. Like the dude.
Brian Kelly left Notre Dame. Notre Dame didn't get rid of Brian Kelly.
Well, obviously, why would they want to get rid of a guy that consistently kept their like status of being like, oh, we're Notre Dame. But
we're just good enough to talk shit, but we're never gonna really win anything.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. We're your grandpa's favorite school, buddy. But regardless, the fact that they didn't have any, like, it doesn't seem like they're gonna have any of those slow turnover years where it's gonna be like, oh, we're rebuilding or whatever. They found a good guy, a good fit. So I don't have like extremely high hopes for them. There's just so many other amazing college football teams right now that I think are like destined to have great years. So that's just kind of how I look at it. But regardless, I do think Notre Dame is going to absolutely mollywop Navy. I think the 20.5 point spread is more so of like a based off last year thing. And in kind of regards to Navy, like, look, I know you're not a football school, you're a military school, but no disrespect. This game is solely to let Notre Dame whoop your ass on not national.
Oh yeah. In Ireland, yeah.
Yeah, that's all this is. And the last part I'm leaving off on, I know you brought up how we don't like having like a week 0, but if these were week 1 games, this would arguably be the worst week 1 of all time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So we out of respect for the real teams that play, I know I'm gonna
But
turn it off.
what I'm saying is, why not just make one good game? Like, I'm not saying a banger. I'm not saying a top 15 match. I'm not saying anything like that. But you could have done like an SEC Big Ten game, like a Ole Miss Wisconsin, like something like that. Like where they're like two solid teams. They're not like great. They're solid, but they're good enough that it's like, all right, this is our week 0 kickoff game. Not a 35-point blowout from Notre Dame.
Yeah, the way I would do it is I would do 2 Power 5 teams that are going to be that are projected to finish towards like the middle of their conference standings. So that way you don't give them the risk of like, hey, we know you may come off on a slow start week 1. You don't know how you're going to play and ruin your college football chances. It's more so like, hey, we don't expect you to finish the season as a playoff contending team. But if you win this strong week 1 game, your chances of like showing out to the country and actually being a step ahead of everyone are going to be really good.
It also looks good too if you're like a middle of the pack team, like you said, in a big conference. It helps with your recruiting. If you're the only big game that weekend, it looks good. I just think it'd be a little cool. I think another idea, Zach, would be to do the 2 best non-Power 5 teams and then have them play each other. That'd give a little hype. Like, for example, if we had like UTSA and Tulane play, they both were 2 top teams that were like 10-2 going ending the year. I think that'd have been a really fun one. Whether or not we agree with week 0, it is what it is. Let's move on to our next game. It's a game that I don't give 2 shits about. It's UTEP versus Jacksonville State. What I do want to talk about, no, excuse me. Let me slow down. UTEP versus Jacksonville State is at 5:30 on CBS SN. The odds are even. What I don't want to talk about is the game. What I do want to talk about is Jacksonville State. Jacksonville State is an extremely dominant FCS powerhouse program who has now just made their way to the FBS. They are in the CUSA. It's going to be their first ever FBS conference game. Now, something I want to point out, just because Jacksonville State just moved to the FBS does not mean that they have not won FBS games before. And there's 5 games I want to talk about. 5, shout out to the NCAA. Stan Beckton, he actually wrote an article called The 5 Memorable Jacksonville State Moments While They Were in the FCS. Starting us off in 2010. They had a double overtime upset at Ole Miss, which is crazy. Then moving on, they whooped up on They got their first ever playoff game against Samford, and the first ever playoff win against Samford in 2013. In 2015, they won a overtime game, a big overtime playoff game against Chattanooga. They went to the national championship in 2015 as well after defeating Sam Houston State, who was the favorite, and they actually beat them 62-10, which is insane. And then the one that's going to make us want to kill ourselves is in 2021, they had a Hail Mary upset at Florida State, beating Florida State. So this is not a team that is one to be, looked secondhand against. Also, it was kind of good for them is with this new merger of all these conferences. The CUSA is a completely different division right now. I'm going to actually read off the teams just to shock you. FIU, Jacksonville State, Liberty, Louisiana Tech, Middle Tennessee State, New Mexico State, Sam Houston State, UTEP, and Western Kentucky. So it's like a completely new conference. I don't know what the hell is going to happen in this game, nor do I care. I just wanted to shout out Jacksonville State. I think it's cool to see a program like them make their way up, and I'd like to see other FCS programs start to do the same.
Yeah. If I'm not mistaken, I'm going to do a little research here, but I believe UTEP, we're in the 2023 season.
Yes.
So I think it was UTSA that I'm thinking of. Okay, yeah, UTEP.
Yeah, no, UTSA ran the conference last year.
Okay, yeah. UTEP finished 8th in Conference USA last year. But, I kind of think this is like the perfect mixture of, or not the perfect mixture, but kind of the perfect storm metaphor you're looking for. You're making your transition into the FBS, into a conference that's in the middle of kind of finding themselves again. They lost a lot of teams to other conferences with this whole conference realignment. Teams that felt that they were better than where they went out to other conferences, whether it be Power 5 and whatnot. Regardless, I do think Jacksonville State has an early opportunity to make some noise. I don't know if they have any of the bowl restrictions that other teams have faced, such as James Madison, who can't play in a bowl game. When they transferred into the FBS, I don't know if they've changed that rule. I do think it's the stupidest rule ever. I don't know why you're going to punish a team for taking a step up in competition. It kind of seems like a freshman type of punishment where it's like, hey, you're new to this, so you got to sit this one out, buddy. So that's kind of how I feel about it. But like the teams you mentioned off, like, yeah, there's solid programs here and there, but it's nothing that Jacksonville State hasn't faced in their past. I mean, some of the games you mentioned, they have upset wins over Ole Miss. They've beaten Florida State's, like they've beaten some of the top tier quality in college football.
In FCS teams that are better than FBS teams, like
FCS.
high end FCS teams.
Yeah, exactly. And for them to make this next step into the Division I atmosphere, it's a great opportunity to put some exposure on your school and show that you are a quality football program. And at the same time, you have nothing really to lose. Like you're setting your own expectations for this season. No one really knows what to expect out of you. Regardless of your FCS success, people are still going to say like, well, you're in the big time now. Like you're playing some real competition. So, for a week 1 game, or excuse me, for a week 0 game against probably the bottom of the conference again and UTEP, I think this is a really it's a comfort game for them. It's to kind of find your bearings, see where you match up, find your weaknesses, and I think they're going to perform really well. Like I said, I don't know too much about them because of their level of play in the FCS. Sorry to expose my casualness. I don't follow the FCS that closely outside of the top.
A pretty consistent top 10 team in the FCS. I mean, they've been in the national championship. They're in the playoffs every year.
Yeah.
They're a consistent powerhouse in the FCS.
Yeah. Well, given that, if they get a win week 1 in a commanding fashion, I'm just going to say you can't just win the game because this team doesn't have any expectations either. But, you start off strong and you prove that you can whoop up on these boys, then it's going to set the tone for the rest of the conference and being like, all right, this school is going to make a run for the CUSA title.
Yeah. So our next game is a game that I don't care about and I don't know anything about either. It's UMass versus New Mexico State. If you want to check it out, it's going to be on ESPN at 7:00. New Mexico State's coming in at a -6.5. New Mexico State's another team that just switched over to they were either Mountain West or Independent. They just switched over to CUSA. That's a little interesting game. Next game, we got Ohio versus San Diego State, also at 7:00 on FS1. San Diego State, a -2-point favorite. This is actually a pretty decent game. One, I like the aspect that it's 2 different conferences. You got the MAC versus the Mountain West. Ohio's been a pretty steady force in the MAC. And San Diego State's probably been, outside of Boise State, the most consistent team in the Mountain West. They're probably going to end up going to the Pac-12 if the Pac-12 doesn't fully dissolve. That's going to be a pretty cool game to watch. Don't know too much about it. The game I actually want to talk about is at 7:30 on the SEC Network. We have Hawaii versus Vanderbilt at Vanderbilt. Vandy coming in at a -17.5. This game last year was super fun to watch. I want to actually pull up the exact thing just to make sure I'm correct, but I believe it was a pretty fun game when they played last year. Yeah, it was fun for Vanderbilt. Vanderbilt won 63-10 versus Hawaii. Vandy comes in again at a -17.5 favorite. I've been hearing a lot of things about this Vanderbilt quarterback. I don't know his name. I'm not going to lie to you. I don't know much about him, but everyone is talking like this kid's actually legit. Vanderbilt's focused on their football program now. They've got a brand new stadium. Don't know what to expect. The Vandy is coming at a -17.5 favorite. I'm gonna take Hawaii plus 17.5 just because you got to think these kids are going to be playing for Maui. You just got to think that these kids are going to play with a chip on their shoulder, and those are one of those factors that it's you can't measure it, but it's big. That's hard. There's a purpose behind the reason. I don't, like I said, I don't really know too much about this game other than that Vanderbilt's quarterback's getting a lot of hype. People are saying Vandy's going to be good for the first time in a while. I just think that also Hawaii always runs a really fun offense, so it'll probably be something cool. But I think Hawaii is going to come in with a purpose this game, and they're probably going to cover the spread.
I remember this time last year, I said the same thing about how Vanderbilt just isn't a good program and why he's going to cover the spread. And I was severely disappointed. Unfortunately, with all the events that are going on in Hawaii, I do hope they have a strong showing for their people back home. Hopefully, they can give them something to kind of take their mind off things, celebrate a good football win. But unfortunately, I don't see this being like a We Are Marshall kind of thing where it's kind of like rally the troops. And if Vanderbilt, quote unquote, does have a good quarterback, then this may not be close at all. Because no offense, why isn't known for their good defenses?
Ever, never,
ever, ever. So with that being said, Vandy is still technically SEC football, and I think it's gonna play out as such, unfortunately. So yeah, I'm gonna lean towards Vandy. I don't like picking spreads this early in the year because I don't know.
I don't know shit. I don't know
I don't
absolutely
know
shit.
what team. I don't know what team is gonna roll out on the field. Like they could literally come out like you could literally just like fake journal like hype up anyone and just be like, oh my god, they're balling out in practice, just doing all this. Yeah, that's against their own team in practice. What if they suck because they suck worse?
Yeah.
Like what?
You just
Like I don't
throwing
know.
shit DBs.
Yeah. Like, yeah, man, this quarterback's the truth. Dude, your second string DB like was a walk-on. Like he's an engineer student. The dude barely has time to even get to the football field. Like I really don't know. But and this game's at Vandy. It's not in Hawaii like last year, so it might even be worse.
Yeah.
God forbid. But I mean, it's not nearly going to be as bad as this next game.
Yeah, this next game is wow. San Jose State's going to USC. A little, do you even call it a rivalry? A little in-state beef, I guess you could say. USC, the number 6 team in the country. This game is 8 o'clock on the Pac-12 network. USC coming in at our biggest spread of the weekend at -31. This game will not be fun to watch competitively. It will be fun to watch because USC might put up 100 points. Like dead ass might actually get to 100. They have the best receiving core in college football right now, which is a fact. They have like 8 guys they're going to rotate through. They have probably the best quarterback in college football, in Caleb Williams. The best quarterback guru, offensive coordinator guru in college football, and Lincoln Riley. The thing to look here is the defense. We know USC's offense can put up points. That's not a question. We've known that all year. The issue is the defense. Their defense is what lost them that game against Washington, or not Washington State, excuse me. The defense what lost them that game against Utah. The defense what lost them that game against Tulane is that they have no run defense. And that is partially on Lincoln Riley being new, not having a full team yet. And also, you're in the Pac fucking 12. Your number one priority isn't run defense. But you need to see them make this transitional like phase ASAP because you're going to the Big Ten, which is the best running conference in college football. So you're going to need to make that adjustment. I wonder if we're going to see that. Obviously, listen, regardless of how their defense looks, they're going to blow out San Jose State. That's not an issue. It's the getting rid of those little things. Let's not get any hold calls. Let's not get any pass interference calls. Let's not make any stupid plays. Let's not turn a drive into a touchdown when it could have just been a field goal. It's the little things, just getting in that flow and that rhythm, getting that comfortable, getting that preseason-esque bugs out. I'm probably going to check it out just because there's no UFC card on Saturday night, and it's going to be fun to watch Caleb Williams in his zone and watch these guys, just light up the scoreboard. They're definitely going to hit 31, by the way.
Yeah, I completely agree. I would have given San Jose State more of like a joking chance if this was like a late night Pac-12 game. Because like the Pac-12, like the whole premonition of like, late night Pac-12 games, anything can happen. Like you don't know. Unfortunately, this game is gonna be at like 4 p.m. in California. So the moon will not save them. And Caleb Williams might throw for 800 yards if he wants to. I don't know. Whatever his fingernails are painted this game, who really gives a shit? But yeah, Caleb Williams probably going to go absolutely berserk. It's going to be the most easy, boring ass whooping you've ever seen. We're probably going to see like you can't even really like. I feel like this is going to be one of those games where you can't even like gauge how much Caleb Williams has improved this year. Because number one, his receivers are going to be open by about 20 yards on every reception. All of their play designs are going to completely just outmatch San Jose State's defense. Like San Jose State may just be like high school football, where it's just like Tampa 2, like we're just in Tampa 2, like whole game.
Just hold everybody.
Hold everybody. Hold everybody. Yeah, we're just gonna.
I have a bet that's actually, I think, a way more realistic bet than the spread because 31 is fucking nothing to USC. Does USC sell out the stadium this game?
Nope.
Because they have not had a stadium sell out since they were in the USC era.
And it sure as hell ain't coming against San Jose State week 0.
Yeah. That's crazy to me, man. You get this amazing coach. You get literally the entire Oklahoma roster. You get the best recruits in the transfer portal. You get one of the best recruiting classes in college football. You get celebrities at your games. You get all these big things, and you get 20,000 people show up in your games. Like it's crazy, like the lack of support in LA for this team and for UCLA in general, for both. And it's funny when UCLA had a game last year. I want to say it might have been against USC and it was at home. They were like, look how packed this crowd is. It's like, yeah, bro, because behind both end zones, you have sectioned off, like you have a cover. And then in like the middle of both sides, you have a cover. So for 100,000 people, there's only availability for 40. So yeah, it's going to look like it's sold out.
Yeah. Like, we're going to get into this later, but like during the Reggie Bush era, like you had to like make seating. Like it was like, yeah, you could pay to stand. You could pay to stand on the stairs if you want, because like they were literally like, we have to let these people in or they're gonna kill, like they're gonna fight their way in. Like that's.
I just think it's hilarious when it's like they like do like a what's it called, a panorama of the crowd, and there's just like a giant cover that says USC over like the whole student section. It's like, bro, that's enough spots for 10,000 people you're covering. The best was when did you see there's two actually. It was one. It was a spring game. I think Lincoln Riley's first year there, and there was like I kid you not, 2,000 people there, and it was just dead. And then UCLA's kickoff game last year, which was also in week 0, same thing, like 2,000 people, same thing.
Yeah, definitely not selling out. I can promise you that.
Oh, no shot. Do we get 2/3? I'm gonna give them 50%. I'm gonna give them half. I think.
I'm giving him 50, but I'm more.
Yeah.
See,
it's more gonna be 50 because school just started and they're gonna give out free tickets.
Yes, but how much of the stadium are they going to be blocking off for like
that's true too. Both end zones are gonna be blocked off, guaranteed. They actually already showed one of the end zones is their like Heisman tribute now, so that one's already blocked off. So one end zone's already blocked off.
Yeah, who sat in that meeting was like, they're like, how do we make our stadiums look more full? And then some wise guy was sitting there and he goes, what if we had a Heisman tribute? And they're like, holy shit. They're like,
give him my money.
Yeah, give this guy a raise. Give this guy a raise. They're like, that way it'll look like we have more people. We have more, but less.
Yeah.
But less is more.
It's funny that we're joking about this, but this is like legitimate conversations that happen with the USC athletic department.
Someone had to decide to put that banner up.
Yeah.
I mean, could you imagine if at like Florida State, they were like, yeah, we're going to block off this section with just a big old Florida State logo.
It'd be a riot. There'd be war.
No. I think they would just say like, okay. And then you get to the game. There's just students just like ripping at it.
Yeah, they're going to jump onto it.
Yeah, they're all just like sitting on top of the cover. And the police are like, please get down. And they're like, well, there's 10,000 of us. So
yeah, imagine going to like Death Valley and LSU. Like, yo, the end zone, we're getting rid of those seats.
Yeah, we're actually putting a Deshaun Watson mural right in the middle of the field.
Wrong Death Valley, dumbass.
I know. I just thought that was even funnier.
Yeah, we're gonna to wrap it up though. Our last game is pointless fucking game that if you're watching this, I don't know what you're doing with your Saturday night. FIU versus Louisiana Tech in Louisiana. Louisiana Tech coming in at a -11. This game is on CBS-SN at 9:00. All I gotta say is go Owls. Fuck FIU. Everyone's getting all this hype because they dropped those sick, retro night jerseys. They're not going to go to a bowl game for like the 4th year in a row. So
yeah, I mean, the thing that's surprising me even like more, you live in the Eastern time zone. Or is Louisiana Tech technically Central?
1 hour, yeah. So it'll be 8:00.
Okay, damn it. Because I was gonna say technically they're playing at a later. Well, they are playing at a later time to us than USC.
Yeah,
Like they're just like,
brother, Zach, brother. Who the fuck is tuning in to the FIU Louisiana Tech game? It could be at 12 o'clock. It could be at 3:30. It could be at 5 a.m. It's going to get the same amount of fucking views.
that's what I love though, is because they definitely like when they were playing this game out, they were like, how do we put this game in such a time slot that no one's gonna give a shit?
Yeah. Let's put it
This is
right after the USC game. So if people are like, oh, I need a little more football, it's just like, oh, this game's on.
yeah, and then it's like, and then like as you tune into it, you watch it for maybe 20 minutes, and you check your watch, and you're like, maybe I should go to bed a little early. Maybe I can get a little extra rest in tonight. It'll be all right. But yeah, oh wow, week 0. It's one of those very bittersweet things. It's like, yeah, I'm glad I'm home. And then you see the crock pot out and you're like, fuck. You're like, well, at least it's a family dinner.
Or it's like you come home from Thanksgiving break from college, but you get sick. You're like, yeah, it's cool. I get to come home and like be in my own bed and have home cooked meals, but I don't get to see any of my friends because I'm fucking COVID in my bed, you know?
Or worse, you're home for the holidays and you go out and you meet a girl and then you realize you can't bring her back home any place because you realize you're staying with your parents.
Yes. Fact.
Game over.
Fact.
Game over. That's when you try to
So week 0, motherfucker.
that's when you hit her with the what about your place?
Yeah. Yo, my buddy just moved into an apartment. He's got a really nice couch.
Yeah, actually, my grandma's in town, so like we can't go there. Sorry.
Oh my god, it's so fucking awesome.
Yeah, absolutely not.
So
Yeah,
as of I'm sorry, you're saying something?
yeah, I was just gonna say I don't know where we left off, but we have some other college things that we can discuss, surprisingly. Even though we're just starting, when you know it, the NCAA is surrounded in a pool of just shit. There's always something that is wrong, or there's a case going on. Who knows? But yeah, Grayson, let's roll right into the first one.
I think it was as of yesterday, it might have been the day before, but Reggie Bush is suing the NCAA for defamation on his name. It's a bunch of things. That's like the biggest one. And what I've been reading on this, Zach, because I was in bed last night bored, looking through some, just diving into it like there's no way this is happening. Basically, the Johnny Manziel documentaries were kind of motivated him.
Good.
And the NIL deal. Those are like the two biggest things. Johnny Manziel is also in support of Reggie Bush doing this. And I'm gonna give my honest opinion, Zach. I am on team Reggie Bush, 1,000,000%.
Always.
The way I look at it, this is how I look at it from my perspective. First of all, they did not take his Heisman. He offered his Heisman to the NCAA. The NCAA wasn't like, give us your Heisman. No. Reggie Bush went, listen, I agree I messed up. I'm sorry. I'm going to give my Heisman back because of that. Regardless, he's the fucking Heisman. I hate when they do like the Heisman shows and there's like a gap in the year that he won it. He won the fucking Heisman. Like there's not a conversation about that. The
I
second
think people are just gonna like nod their head. They're gonna be like, I like wonder what happened that year.
Yeah,
And, like,
exactly. The other thing is we let people like Aaron Hernandez, who literally murdered people. Oh, he's fine. Yeah, it's good. Yeah, all his shit can stay. But a guy that just took money because he was making hundreds of millions of dollars for a university and not getting any of it, took some money and he didn't do any bad. There's nothing on him hurting people. There's nothing on him with bad relations with women. There's nothing with him stealing. This is the only thing. And now we live in an era where kids can get paid and kids can make the money that he's making, and I agree. They did ruin his name. They made it probably hurt him a lot, with life in general, having this Reggie Bush is a shitty person vibe to it. I'm all for it. I want Reggie to get his Heisman back. I want whatever punishments happen, the USC team losing those wins. I want everything fucking back. Because it's not fair that if he would played in today's era, it'd have been fine. And he's kind of one of the first advocates that really started the push for helping, young athletes make money and make money off of not letting universities use them to make money. They're also getting a percentage of themselves.
yeah, I think it's the American in me that just wants the individual to triumph against tyranny. I just think it's a very patriotic act. So down with the NCAA, all of it. I think honestly, in all fairness, let's just let Reggie Bush shoot up on TRT and let him get 4 more years at college, see if he earned it back.
Go back in there.
Hold on.
Yeah, that'd be pretty hilarious.
As my dog loses her mind in the background because God forbid we live in an apartment, and believe it or not, there are people that live here. Wow. So I know really hard concept for a dog to get through their head. Very difficult, I know. But regardless, Reggie Bush, without a doubt, without glazing him as hard as possible, arguably one of the hardest mixtapes of all time. I'm surprised we didn't bring him up in our top 5 highlight films. So I'm sorry, Reggie Bush. I guess somehow the NCAA was fundamentally right that maybe if we do just erase his name off of all the record books, it will make people forget about him, because I somehow forgot to an extent. But that's more on me.
We got flamed, by the way, across all social media platforms for our list. So there's a lot of we definitely should have done more thinking before we did that draft.
Yeah. But I like the continuity of it, just kind of like doing things on a whim, because hindsight is always 2020. When you're not put on the spot, of course you can have the best ideas ever, but it's when the pressure's on, do you shine? Like do you really perform when the lights are the brightest? Are who you say you are? A superstar? Shout out Sean O'Malley.
Yeah, what is your take on this Reggie Bush thing, though? Honestly, truthfully,
100% reinstate everything. I think it's kind of BS. Like, look, it's okay to admit that yes, during the time that it occurred, it wasn't right, but now that it is right, you shouldn't shun him for the mistakes of his past. I mean, he is a pioneer for this whole NIL thing. He is one of the major reasons why athletes are allowed to earn money for their own name and likeness these days. And, without players like him, we'd probably still be in the days of guys earning millions upon millions of dollars for their universities and then never seeing a penny of it. There's countless of guys in college that earn money for their school and can't even afford housing, can't even afford food. Like, literally, kids used to literally get in trouble because their coach would buy them a meal.
Yeah.
And that was supposed to be their
one is it was in like 2013, the Baylor running back. Remember that one?
Yeah.
He literally couldn't, because Baylor doesn't let you live on dorms after sophomore year, and he couldn't afford an apartment. Like, his family could not pay for him to go to an apartment. So he crashed on his teammate's couch and lost his fucking scholarship.
That's the stupidest shit. That has got to be the most like postmodern American thing I've ever heard.
Yeah.
Where it's just,
there was some congressman, I can't remember who it was, or a lawyer, some fucking politician genius guy that was like, if the NCAA was a business, they would be like be ended for monopoly. Like, they would no longer be existing.
Oh yeah, 100%. Like, you want to talk about slave work?
Yeah,
they're literally like, we'll give you a scholarship, but you ain't earning shit.
Yeah,
like, you're gonna sign this. You're gonna sign this little piece of paper, and you're gonna be our bitch for 4 to 5 years.
Did you watch the Johnny Manziel Untold?
Not yet,
dude. The year he won the Heisman, the Texas A&M University made
they earned almost $1 billion,
$780 million, and he made nothing.
Yeah. Shout out his friend though, who was like, "Oh, his parents are just rich."
Yeah, they got oil money. The NCAA was like, "Yeah, that checks out." Okay, that's
white at Texas A&M checks out. Like, yeah, that's fine. They're like, and then they're like, they bring him into the meeting and they're like, "Look at these highlights."
Yeah.
It's like giving a baby a tablet. It's like distract the baby, and they just slide Johnny Manziel highlights over.
God, there's so many people that don't like him, dude. But I am the biggest Johnny Manziel glazer, dude.
Dude, you can like him, you can hate him, but you're gonna watch because that's all you like. That is literally.
Who do you think you are? He is.
Yeah, he is him. He is quite literally like they call like. He literally played real life college football how I play NCAA.
Like, literally, he'd wake up hungover, and when you go like, "Oh man, I had a long night. Let me turn on my PlayStation." He's like, "All right, let me go head to Alabama real quick."
Yeah, his teammates waking him up, and he's like, "Dude, we have walkthroughs in an hour," and he's like, "Suck on." Like,
dude, you gotta watch the documentary. Cliff Kingsbury was his. By the way, that coaching staff at the time was goated. I don't know how that went underlooked. Cliff Kingsbury was the offensive coordinator, quarterbacks coach. And he's like, yeah, he shows up to the game we play Mississippi State, which is our biggest game of the year. It's called the Snow Bowl, and it's like Texas A&M's in a blackout, Mississippi State's in a whiteout. It's like the big or other way around, biggest game of the year. He shows up and at morning workouts, like the walkthrough an hour before they like start their pre-game shit, just throwing up in a garbage can hungover. Goes out and puts 500 all-purpose yards and 5 touchdowns in that game. So Cliff was like, it got to the point where like instead of trying to change Johnny, we just let Johnny, and it happened.
Yeah, I mean, I can just imagine being a coach and you're like trying to do your game plan for the week, and you're like, man, we really want Johnny to do this, and then the coach is just like has his like head in his hands, and he's like, fuck, I wish I could get through to this kid. He's like, I wish he would just listen, because he's like, like you call a screen pass, he's gonna stutter step, pump fake, roll out the other way, and he's gonna be like, fuck it. The guy that's supposed to be blocking, he's gonna be like 40 yards down there. It's literally recess flag football. Like that's just what it was to him. He was just like, I don't care. He's like,
no, that ass, but instead it was like national championship teams.
yeah. Nick Saban was probably infuriated.
Oh my gosh, dude! Imagine being Alabama, where like you're so disciplined, you don't drink, you every fucking second of your life is just grind, and then this kid comes off a 3-day bender, goes to Alabama and beats you.
Yeah. Just imagine all of the Alabama players that watched the fucking that watched the Johnny Manziel thing, and they're like, "This man really beat us." Shit faced.
Yeah, literally hungover.
Yeah, they're like there are teams that have a circled on their schedule years in advance, and Johnny Manziel just woke up and he's like, "What am I playing today?"
Yeah, I was like, "Fuck, we got it. All right." Yeah,
like,
that's enough with the Johnny football glazing because I could do that for hours. Zach, you had an interesting draft for today. If you want to go on to that, and we can draft some.
Yeah. So me and Grace were kind of texting this morning. We were like trying to like hypothesize some possible, drafts. And I had one that came to me just because one of these occurrences happened to me the other day, and I brought it up. So I used it as our example. It was small things that make any day instantly better. And the example that I used, which we will not be allowed to use, is when you're driving home from work and you hit every green light. It's really just a feel good moment. You just feel like the day is playing into your hands. You have some higher power looking over you. So yeah, that's what we're gonna do our draft today on. Grayson, I will let you start us off if you would like, unless you take my first one. In that case, fuck you. But
I was thinking because there's like a lot of things that like are like this that are like hard to think about. But I'm gonna go. My number one is just finding cash on the ground. Finding not like a lot, even if it's like a $20 bill, just finding free money, civilly, not stealing it, not being like, oh, like I just dropped it out of his pocket, I'm gonna take it. And like you park, you go to the gym, you come out of your car, and there's like $20 under your car. You're like, oh shit, dude, that's awesome. Like I just got free lunch and dinner. Finding cash.
Yeah, finding cash. I like that. My number one is going to be waking up in the morning and realizing you still have more time to go back to bed.
Oh, that one's fire.
Waking up before your alarm clock has got to be like a top 5, just like, oh fuck yeah, dude.
But you have to have at least like an hour. If it's like 30 minutes or less, I can't fall back asleep. I'm just like shit.
Yeah, fair enough. But yeah, waking up before alarm clock.
I'm gonna go with my number 2. Waking up violently hungover and drinking a freezing cold water.
Yeah. Cold water, hungover. That is a solid one. My number 2, finding something you didn't know you lost or you forgot.
Oh, that's really good. That's really good.
Like you stumble upon it and you're like, oh fuck, you're like, I'm wondering where this went. Yeah, that to me is when I'm just like, I know things are going right today. I'm just like, oh yeah, like things are falling together.
Damn, that's a good one. I don't do this anymore, but I know the feeling of it. It's when you get that extra hit or two out of your nicotine when you thought it was dead.
Ooh.
I
Ooh.
don't do nicotine. I'm nicotine free. I'm 3 years almost nicotine free, but I do remember those days where it's like you wake up, you're like, damn, that vape on my counter has been dead for 2 days, and you get like 2 hits that give you a nice little buzz out of it. You know what I mean?
Oh, look. Hit from a dead Nick. Fuck, I just had this one in my head. Why am I forgetting? Why am I blanking? Hold on, it's coming back to me. It's coming back to me. Dude, I had one that was so good and it just slipped my mind, and I'm so fucking pissed right now because I know I'm not gonna be able to think of anything else until it comes back. Hold on. Waking up before your alarm clock, finding out things you forgot about. Hit from a dude, that nicotine line just completely just like made me blank on everything.
Oh,
Shit.
good. That's a good one though, right?
I know. That's why like I'm kind of pissed. I'm kind of pissed right. Oh. When people cancel plans that you already didn't want to go to.
Yes.
Yeah, because you don't want to feel bad, like you don't want to cancel on them because you want to go through with it, like you want to be the good friend, but you don't want to go, and then they call you and you're just like, yeah, man, I don't think we're gonna do this tonight, and you're just like, yes, you're like, I wasn't even getting ready to begin with.
So all you say is like, damn, bro, so looking forward to it. I'm so sorry. Like, we'll make it happen again. And then you're like,
Yeah, or you say that, and then they're like, oh, but we can do something else, and you're like, nah, let's just reschedule for another time.
yeah,
Oh,
that's really good.
yeah, two more.
What's a number 4? Small things that make any day better. That alarm one's really good. I guess this isn't like fully relatable, but I mean, for the jobs I've had, working in a restaurant and in other jobs, when your boss lets you go early,
Yeah,
I think that's good. It's not relatable to every job, but there are some jobs I know with EPR that happens with you sometimes, and like working
yeah,
at a restaurant sometimes, like, yo, I knew you were supposed to be able to 10, you can go to 8:30. When you unsurprisingly get cut early from work.
yeah. Love that. That's always good. Getting cut early. I'm trying to think more so about when like we were like younger in high school. Like
Yeah,
what
I'm
things,
trying to think about like stuff like that too.
because like
Oh
these
my god, I have a great one. I have a
oh,
great one.
fuck, hopefully I can steal it from like the thought process.
I have a
Uh
fucking great one.
oh shit. When you show up to class and you see like the TV pulled out, or like the teacher's like, we're gonna watch a movie today.
Right,
And you
study all day.
Yeah, study hall day, or like any class that like you just were dreading to go to, and the teacher's like, yeah, we're not gonna do shit today. There's nothing in the schedule, and you're just like, oh my god, yes.
Try study all day. Damn, that's kind of similar to the one I'm about to pick. Mine is when the teacher doesn't check the homework you didn't do.
Damn, damn, son. Oh fuck, that's so good.
Because there's been days where I'm like, shit, dude, I have like a 81 in the class. Completely had like such a long night of practice. I didn't feel like doing the homework. Like this homework grade's gonna drop me to a C. And then the teacher's just like, yeah, whatever homework, guys, fuck it. I messed up on the thing. Like, you're good. And you're just like, let's go.
Solid. That's a solid, dude. My fifth one's gonna be really hard to come up with. Oh my god. Um, mm,
I'm trying to think if I can think of something to help you.
yeah, I'm trying to think of one last one that would really like cement this list. I need like something so solid. Like what just makes your day that much better? Like just it's going to be a great day from then on out. Um, a little lost.
It sucks
Well,
because as soon as this podcast ends, I'm gonna have 50 of them fly into my brain.
yeah, yeah. This is when
Oh, I have one. It's like kind of that. It's like kind of
I'll let you go. I'll pass on my fifth one.
honorable mention when you're in a tie or when you're
Well,
barely.
this is your fifth. This is your fifth.
No, I've already done 5. I'd finding cash, drinking, freezing cold.
Oh yeah, I didn't write it down. It was the
Um, I'm gonna say when you okay, all your players in fantasy are done and you're barely up, and that guy has like one person left, and they're supposed to smoke you, and the guy underperforms and you win. You know what I
counter
mean?
counterpoint when you're down by a lot and
I've
you're
been in both of those shoes. I've been in both of those shoes.
yeah, and your guy pops off.
Or when you're like down by 12 and you have a kicker left, and you're like shit, and he just Adam Vinatieri's it, and you score like 20 points with your kicker.
Damn. Damn, that is solid. Shit, I'm trying to think. What is like this is the same boat. Like I just know I'm gonna have so many once this
As
ends.
soon as the pod ends, I'm gonna have a 50 of them fly to my brain.
Yeah. Because like one I could say, but like it's not relatable to us because we've never experienced it. Is I was gonna be like when you wake up one day and you realize it's like a snow day on
Yeah, that's a
school.
good one. Hurricane days.
Yeah, but we know they're coming.
Yeah.
Hurricane doesn't just spawn up and it's like, oh shit. It's on us.
uh,
No, I'm gonna I like I'm trying not to think of like big things though, like things that like aren't too big, like just like mind like
I like what you said about going back to the school one. The school one's good. There's a lot.
yes. I'm trying to think of like high school.
I mean, I got another one. I don't want to take it though. I feel like you might be able to think about it. It's more of a college one though. It's more college-esque.
Is more of a college one.
Think about a moment with it regarding school and college, not like the social life, the school part, where it's like, damn, that was good.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll go similar to that route. When your teacher doesn't show up
Yeah. So
for class.
mine was a little different. Mine was the same vibe. Mine was when you skip class or don't go and they don't do attendance.
Oh yeah, that good. But I'm still gonna go with when you wake up and teacher cancels class, like the
Yeah,
teacher.
that's fire. Or you go to class and you sit there. I've been in this situation probably 5 times in college at FAU where the teacher doesn't say anything. You show up and nobody's there. And you sit there for like 5 minutes, and then you have the two kids like, we're gonna stay the whole hour just in case he shows. And then you have like the kids like me that are like, I'm gonna write my name on this piece of paper and leave it on the desk so he knows I was here. And then I leave.
Yeah, that's solid. But yeah, that's our 5. God forbid we come up with anything else once this ends.
Oh, we
Because
will 1,000,000% get flamed on the socials once this comes out.
me,
No, us, because we're gonna be like, oh, why didn't you think of this? Why didn't you think of this? Why didn't you think of this?
I don't know, dude. We have some solid ones. Like the finding cash thing, such a solid number 1. Um,
Finding something you didn't know you lost.
yeah, canceling plans you didn't want to go to.
Oh no, these were solid. These were solid. I like
Yeah,
this.
these were because we could technically just say if anyone calls us out for it, we could just be like, we're like, that's a small thing in your day. Like that'd be huge.
Yeah, I like that. I like that. I think this was a good
Yeah,
draft. Very wholesome draft.
yeah, very wholesome. Counterpoint next week, we're gonna do ones on small things that completely ruin your day.
Yes, that's way easier.
Yeah, that one I could go on. That
Yeah.
one may have to have like a full like MLB 40 round draft.
Yeah.
Just to get through because I have so many things that just piss me off.
Yeah, I could
And
do
we both worked in the service industry, so we probably have a million things that could just
yeah.
ruin our day.
That's everything, folks. College football week 0. Reggie Bush, our draft.
Ellie,
Stay
Johnny
tuned.
Manziel.
Shout out Johnny Manziel and Sugar Sean O'Malley.
Yeah, shout out Sam Hartman's heart.
Yeah,
Man.
any other words before we tap out here?
Not words. No words to mind. Unfortunately, brain no worky today. I've worked 40 some hours this week, so the fact that I'm even up right now just blows my mind. I got kicked in the face last night playing indoor soccer, so that was great. I'm like 90% sure my shit is fucked, but
Hey, it's all right, Zach. You can't get any uglier, so that should help you.
yeah. I
Do
beg
an
to.
episode of SpongeBob where every time Squidward gets hit, it gets more handsome.
I mean, if that were the case, I would probably agree to an amateur fight right now and just like fight.
Just don't beat the fuck out of you.
Yeah. Hey Sean, you wanna run it real quick?
That's
Chris
cool. Yeah.
Coutinho minds.
Episode 98. We're trying to have a big episode 100. It might end up being like episode 101 or 102 based on timing, but stay tuned. Stay tuned.